Hello. It's been a while. I don't really feel like talking about where I've been. I mean, I have been nowhere. I just didn't feel like making any videos. But I have an idea now, so I'm just gonna do it because I'm excited about it. So, I started watching the show Lost very late to the game, have never watched it before. But I've been really enjoying it. I think it's just because I'm stuck inside and feels like I'm playing a puzzle game. So anyways, not surprising to anyone, my favorite character has become Sawyer. And I love that he is the only one who reads books pretty much. So I thought it would be interesting if I read the books that Sawyer reads. I am almost on a season 2 right now, and I've sort of looked ahead, and it seems like half of the books are from season 1 and 2, and then the other ones are from the rest of the seasons. So, I'm gonna make this video now, where I read the books from the first 2 seasons, and then if I feel like it, I'll do the other half. Maybe I'll never even post this. We'll see. So, let's talk about the books. I got them all from the library because I wanted physical copies of them. I didn't own any of them. I tried to get the same versions he has, but for some of them, it was not possible. So, first we have Watership Down by Richard Addams. I read this book as a kid. I don't really remember much about it, except that it's about rabbits. And I think that, like, some developers are coming to destroy the, like, what is it called? The Baron? No, that's not the right word. Warren, where they live. And they have to, like, find a new home. So, which is kind of like in Lost. They're on an island, they gotta find a new home. So, this will be the first one I will read. I'm gonna read them in order, just because why not? And then we have A Wrinkle in Time by Madeline Lancelot? I don't know how to say her last name. This one I also read as a child. I remember reading this, I think in 5th grade, in class, and it was really fun. And I also really enjoyed the cheesy, like, Disney movie that they made as an adaptation of this. I thought it was a fitting adaptation. So this is about a girl, Meg, and her young brother Charles, and their dad is, like, investigating time travel, and I think he's been gone, and then he appears, and then they get swept up on an adventure. And this is the first book in a series, but he just read this one, the first one. So I'll read it. I don't actually know if I have read the rest of the books in the series. Next, we have the one book, or one of the books that I haven't read, which is Lancelot by Walker Percy. This one seems to be about a lawyer who is disenchanted, and he sort of goes mad one day when he discovers he's not the father of his youngest daughter. And he becomes obsessed with reversing the degeneration of modern America and to begin a new age of chivalry and romance. So, sounds interesting. Then we have Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret by Judy Blume. Which is very funny to imagine a grown man reading this. I don't actually know, like, the plot of this, but I think it's a girl, Margaret, and she's going through puberty, and she's sort of, like, dealing with, like, things in her life, changes with her body, and, like, things around her, and, oh, and then I think she is also, like, sort of grappling with the idea of God, but I don't think that's, like, the main point of the book. And I also read this one as a kid, but I don't really remember it. And then the last one is a weird little book. This is Bad Twin by Gary Troup, which is actually a manuscript that they find on the plane. And it's like written by one of the people who didn't survive. Or did he? I don't know. I haven't finished the show. And so I guess somebody who was working on Lost actually made it into a little book. It seems like it's very bad, but it has like little references to the show, so I thought it would be cute. So yeah, those are the 5 books that I'm planning to read. I don't know how long it'll take me to read them. 3 of them are children's books, and the other 2 are not very long. So yeah, I haven't done this in a long time, and also I'm in LA. I'm not going anywhere, so it'll be very boring. It'll just be me reading in my house. I'm gonna start this one, and maybe if I finish it before Rustin gets back from work, we can watch the movie later, because he's never seen it. I think that could be fun. Although this is kind of long. I'm just looking at it, and it's almost 500 pages. But yeah, we'll start with this one. Maybe I'll see if there's an audiobook, because I actually need to do some cleaning and stuff. So yeah, I'll pop back in later if anything interesting happens, or if I start reading. So hello. I'm checking back in from my spookily lit reading nook that I've made in my bedroom. I have this like warm light bulb because this lamp is so bright, and it's the only one that doesn't like burn my eyes out. But it makes it so spooky when I film myself here. But anyways, that's not what's important. What's important is books. So Watership down. I've made it like 190 pages. I don't know why I thought I could read this book in one day. By the way, it's the next day now. Time does not matter anymore. But yeah, I'm like really, really enjoying this a lot more than I thought I would. I thought it would just be like a fun kids book, but it's like way more than that. I don't know. It's just like a really good story. I'm having a great time with these rabbits. So it's about these 2 brother rabbits, Hazel and Fiver. And Fiver can see like visions, but no one believes him. He's kind of like the Cassandra of the rabbits. And so he sees this vision that something very bad is going to happen to their warren, and so he's like, yo, we gotta get out. But no one believes him, so he escapes with a couple of the rabbits, and they're like having to find a new place to live, and there's like other stuff that's happening, but I don't remember it, and I guess it would be like a spoiler to discuss it, but also this book is from the 70s, so. But yeah, it's kind of like, it got a little spooky. I haven't been really filming like clips in between because really nothing goes on. Last night I finished season 2 of Lost, so that was really exciting, and I'm really excited to start season 3. I was gonna like wait a second, but I'm actually just gonna start it tonight because I gotta find out what's going on this island, man. So yeah, I'm gonna do some more reading, and I'll check back in later. I feel like I should just like wait until I finish this, but I don't know when that will be. Maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow is Saturday, and I have 0 plans. Hello again. It's been a couple of days. It took me quite a while to get through this book. I mean, by quite a while, I mean like 4 days. But yeah, it's a bit of a long one. It's about 475 pages. And I thought it would like go faster because I was like, oh, it's a kid's book. But I don't know, the way it was written, I kind of like had to take my time with it. or I just did take my time, I don't know. But yeah, I finally finished this last night, and I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was just gonna be like a tale about rabbits. Also, I'm now like not sure that I did read this as a kid, because it wasn't, I don't really remember a lot of it. Like, maybe I started it. I definitely watched the movie, and it was very sad and scary. But yeah, this was really interesting. It was like a really fun adventure story. It wasn't as sad as I thought it was gonna be. It was just these rabbits going on adventures, running into problems and solving them in these like interesting ways. And like there were some like morals to it, I guess, mostly just like to be nice to your fellow rabbits and to other animals, and they would like work together with the other animals, and it like always surprised the other rabbits that they could possibly be working with a bird or a dog. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I was thinking if I should do like, a friend of mine suggested that I do like my review and then like what I think Sawyer thought of this book. So like, I'm trying to remember when he was reading this. I think it was in the first season. I think it's well, yeah, it is the first season. It's the first book he reads, and I think he does like it. I feel like it's like an action-packed like adventure story, but it's still like a little slower. So you can like take your time with it when you're trapped on an island. So yeah, I'm gonna give a Sawyer a thumbs up. Me and Sawyer both love this book. And if I was trapped on an island, I think this would be a great book to bring with you, because it's really fun, and I feel like you could get something out of it every time, and it would be a great book to like, I read it aloud a little bit, like when there was like the rabbit folktale parts, and I also listened to the audiobook a little bit. So I think this is a great book to read out loud to, if you're trapped on an island with other people. You could read them a tale. So yeah, Watership down. There's that. The next book is A Wrinkle in Time, which I feel like I will read much faster because this one's a lot shorter. And this one I have definitely read before. But I'm excited to read it again because I don't really remember a ton about it. Hello again. I forgot to update yesterday, and now it's already the evening, but I read all of A Wrinkle in Time yesterday. This one was a super quick read. It took me maybe like 2 sittings. And I definitely didn't like it as much as I remembered. It's a very simple story about this girl and her brother, and their parents are scientists, and their dad has been gone for a while, but they're like convinced he's gonna come back, and they make some new friends and sort of go on this adventure to save her dad. And there's a lot about time travel in here, and I feel like it was probably like a lot more revolutionary when it came out, because I didn't realize this book is from the 60s. Just like having, like a nerdy main character who's like good at math, like that was probably not very common, and making a time travel book for children. But I feel like it was such a simple story, and in some ways in a good way and also a bad way. Like it was really easy to follow, but I also just feel like things weren't really described a lot. And I feel like since I've seen the movie, I just like was filling things in, but I don't know, it just like wasn't described very well. And like the climactic scene took like 5 pages. So I feel like it was just sort of dumbed down a bit for like a child audience, and that's like my least favorite thing about children's books, because I don't think you need to like dumb them down. But at the same time, I was like looking at an interview with her, and she was saying how like, maybe it was in the back of the book, but how she like doesn't think you should like dumb things down for children, and how they're super smart and sometimes can like understand these concepts faster than adults. So I don't think it was her intention, so maybe it just like has aged weirdly. I don't know. Like I feel like maybe children now have just read more about time travel. Yeah. And there were like some problematic word choices. So yeah, this was okay. I feel like it was really a nostalgic read for me. I don't remember what Sawyer thought about this book. I'm not sure if he mentions it. Let's say like a I don't know, I'm doing thumbs. A thumb sideways. Maybe Sawyer would feel the same. I'm just deciding me and Sawyer have the same opinions on books. Next is Lancelot. Almost hit myself in the face with this, by Walker Percy. And I was just flipping through the beginning of this, and it seems like he's like speaking to the he's like in prison, and he's like speaking to the or to the reader, like he knows, like with someone who's like visiting him in jail. And I really hope that's not how it is for the whole book, because I feel like that could get a little annoying. Oh, there's like something, is that mold? Some mysterious black thing in the pages of that. But yeah, we'll see about this one. I don't know anything, I haven't heard anything about this book. It doesn't really seem like a book that I would normally read, but we'll see how it goes. This lighting is very bright right here. But I finally finished reading Lancelot by Walker Percy. This one took me a couple days to read. I definitely enjoyed it more than I was expecting to, just because I usually don't like reading about just like terrible, awful male main characters, which was pretty much the protagonist in this book. But the writing was like really readable. It was like really easy to read, and it's kind of split into two sections. So Lancelot is this kind of wealthy lawyer who lived in this big fancy house of Belle Isle, I think? I don't even remember the name. Belle something, yeah. And at the beginning of the book, he is in a mental hospital, possibly, or a prison. I don't think it's a prison because the doors aren't locked. But yeah, and this like old friend of his, Percival, who I'm pretty sure is also a character from like Lancelot, Camelot, Knights of the Round Table situation, but I don't really know. He comes to visit him. He's like a priest, and he's sort of come to like try to get him to talk, because he's been here for a year and he hasn't really told his story. So it's split between him talking to Percival, and those are just like long rants about his personal opinions, of which I agreed with none of them, and they were just like very upsetting to read about. And then the other half is him telling the story about what happened 1 year ago. So basically, he has this wife, Margot, and she's like this beautiful actress, and he's been like very depressed lately, just been drinking. He's moved out of the house basically and lives in this like little like in-law unit almost, and their relationship like is very stagnant. And one day he discovers that he thinks his youngest daughter is not actually his daughter, that he's not the father. And so, instead of, like, just talking to his wife, he does all these elaborate plans to, like, catch her cheating on him or something. And at the same time, there's, like, a hurricane coming, and she's in this movie. And sort of about all of the actors and directors and, like, his family and their relationships and what's going on. So I found that part a lot more interesting than just reading about his rants about society. Would I want to be trapped on an island with this book? I don't think so, because I feel like if you were trapped on an island and you were just, like, reading these rants, you might just start to, like, think them and, like, agree with them. Because I weirdly saw a lot of Goodreads reviews where people were, like, agreeing with this rant, and I'm like, guys, I don't think that's the point of this book. I don't think you're supposed to agree with him. He's not, like, a good, likable person that you're supposed to agree with. But okay. So yeah. And in terms of if Sawyer liked it, I feel like he did not speak about this book at all. You just see him reading it, and he doesn't even have a quippy line about it. There's a lot of sex in it, so he might like that. But I feel like he probably doesn't like to read about, like, fancy rich people problems in, like, the film industry. But it's set in the South. It's set in Louisiana, and I think he's from Georgia? I know the actor's from Georgia. So, maybe he can connect to the southern part of it. And it's a pretty short read. So I feel like he probably enjoyed it. But hopefully he didn't agree with any of the rants, but I don't know. Because I never really know what Sawyer's opinions are. Because he likes to act like he's a tough meanie, but he's kind of a softie inside. Anyways, so that's this book. The next book, a very different book, although I guess it's about religion as well. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, by Judy Blume.
How's your book?
Predictable. Not nearly enough sex.
Well, I actually finished this already. I just sat and read it for like an hour. But yeah, this was really sweet, just like about this girl in 6th grade move into a new town and making new friends and dealing with the changes in her body and just preteen stuff. And she's also sort of like deciding if she wants to join a religion. Her parents aren't really religious, but sort of everyone around her is, and thinks it's like very weird that she isn't. And she does sort of like talk to God. It's sort of like almost like a diary. She just talks about her day. And what I didn't remember but I really enjoyed was her relationship with her grandmother. So her dad's mom is Jewish and her mom's family is Christian, and they sort of cut her off when she married her dad. But the grandma was just like really sweet and like quirky and fun, and they just had such a lovely relationship together. That reminded me of my own grandma, and yeah, it was just really sweet. I honestly cannot imagine a grown-ass man reading this book, but didn't have a lot of options on that island. I feel like it was more just like a funny thing that the writers had him read this book, and slight spoiler, but the episode where he's reading this is when Sun is sort of thinks she might be pregnant, or thinks she is pregnant, and like comes to him to ask for a pregnancy test. So it's sort of like she's dealing with changes in her body, and then like he's reading this book, so it's kind of related, I guess. But also I think it was just like funny that he was reading this book. Next one is Bad Twin, which is actually a manuscript that someone on the plane had. Like he wrote it, and I think Hurley and then Sawyer read it, and then like Jack like burns the last few pages, and it seems like the manuscript is never mentioned again. But they made it into an actual book, and I think there are like some references to the show, so that's the last one to read. And then I guess I'll wrap it all up and maybe talk about Lost. I haven't really talked about the show, but it's also like this show's, is it like 17 years old? So I feel like I don't need to explain it, but maybe I'll have a little like Lost chat, like talk about how I'm feeling about the show so far. I'm about halfway through the 3rd season now, and I'm honestly loving it. So yeah, I'll check back in later when I've read that book. Hello! So, I have finished Bad Twin by Gary Troup. This only took me 2 days to read. It was actually kind of fun. So yeah, this one is about a detective named Paul Artisan who has been hired by this man Clifford Widmore, which is a reference to a rich family that is in Lost, although none of those people actually show up, but it's like the same name. And he is looking for his twin brother, Alexander, or Xander, who's been missing, and he's like worried he's in trouble. So it's like about this private detective, and he's sort of looking for him, and there's lots of twists and turns. And I saw a lot of reviews saying that this was like really bad, but honestly I thought it was like kind of fun. Like definitely cheesy, but maybe I just don't read a lot of like detective mysteries. But I thought it was like pretty fun, and the chapters are all like 3 pages long, so it was really easy to read and like keep going with it because it would just like leave you with a little cliffhanger. This one was probably like the most related to the show because it was written for the show. There were some references to the Hanso Foundation, which is like the group that has all these like research stations on the island where everyone crashes. And the detective has a friend who's an old English professor, and he's always making references to books, which I thought was really cute because you're obviously reading this book because you like seen the references to books in the show. Like that's the only people who would be reading this book. And so he's kind of like the viewer, you know, making references and trying to like solve the case with the references. He's like, oh, like this is similar to this book that I read, and in that book this thing happened, so maybe that's gonna happen in the case. So yeah, I thought it was cute. Obviously, so Hurley and Sawyer read the manuscript, but then they don't get to finish it because Jack burns the ending, which would be very annoying. I think that would be really annoying to not get to figure it out because there's so many twists and turns. So yeah, obviously from the title, this is about like good versus evil, and because they're like identical twins, and the detective is like constantly trying to figure out like which one's the good twin and which one's the bad twin, which I feel like is a theme of Lost. So I'm gonna make some lunch now, but I want to talk about all 5 books that I read and sort of like some of their themes and stuff that I think are also relevant in the show. Hello, it's actually the next day, and I'm wearing a different warm sweater. So, let's wrap up the books that I read this past week or 2. I think it's only been 1 week. Maybe a little bit over a week and a half, we'll say. So, these are the 5 books that's Sawyer reads in the first 2 seasons of Lost. I think I may have said the first 3 seasons before, just the first 2. So we've got Watership Down by Richard Addams, Wrinkle in Time by Madeline Langle, still did not learn how to pronounce her name, Lancelot by Walker Percy, Are You There, God, It's Me, Margaret by Judy Blume, and Bad Twin by Gary Troup, who is not a real person. Well, anyways, this was fun. I think there are 4 more books that he reads, and honestly most of them I've already seen in this 3rd season. I'll say maybe all of them. There might be like 1 or 2 that come later. So I think it would be fun to do like a part 2 and do the rest of the books that he reads. Although one of them is The Fountainhead, and I really have no interest in reading Ayn Rand. But my thought was, he reads it in like 2 days, and like, that seems really fast. So if I don't like it, I can just DNF it, and I'll just say that Sawyer did that as well. So, you know, I'm just keeping in line with the book, with the show. So yeah, I wanted to talk about some like similarities I've seen in all these books. I feel like this one is the most related to the show, in that it's like this group of rabbits, and they're trying to find a new home, and they're just sort of beset by all of these terrible things, which is like the show. And there's sort of different characters. Probably Hazel would be like Jack, he's like the leader. Fiver, who lots of people kind of have visions. Desmond's having visions right now. Locke and Echo have like weird things going on. So yeah, I feel like this was the most plot related, and sort of themes too. Oh, there's also like, you know, the other rabbits, and they're like bad, but are they really bad? Who knows? This one I feel like I cannot say yet, because the only spoiler I know about Lost is that there's something to do with time travel or weird time stuff. But I feel like even if I knew what the spoiler was, it wouldn't mean anything to me at this point. So yeah, you know, time stuff, but I don't know yet. I think I just reached the halfway point of season 3. We had a weird thing with Desmond where, when the hatch exploded, there will be spoilers, but also I don't know what I'm talking about yet because I'm halfway through the show. So I think it's kind of funny. The hatch exploded and Desmond was transported back in time. And then he had to like go live it again, and now he's seeing the future. Like Fiber. This one, there's an explosion in this one. There's lots of explosions in Lost. Things are always exploding. But I feel like, this one, and honestly all of these, are about like good versus evil. And sort of like trying to figure out like who's good, who's evil, what does it mean to be good, how do you like make choices to be a good person, and like, I mean, I don't really know what's going on with the island yet, but there is like something going on where there are like good people, or like people who are on this list or something. Who's Jacob? I don't know. Don't tell me. So yeah, it's like the choices you make can like change your status as a good or evil person. So that's kind of this one also has a lot about like sin and lots of weird things. This one I feel like is the least related, except for the fact that she's like talking to God, and like some of the characters, mostly Locke, you know, have like a relationship with God and are like talking to him. He's more talking to the island, who he thinks is God. So that seems more related than, you know, a coming of age story. No one's really coming of age on the island, so. And then this last one, I guess more than Watership Down, this one is like the most related to the show because it was written for the show. And I think I already talked about the professor character who's like referencing all the books and stuff and trying to solve the case. So yeah, hopefully this was fun. I think this would be fun even if you haven't seen Lost. I'm sure it might be mildly infuriating if you have seen Lost, because I'm probably missing so many references and things. Try not to tell me, because I'm trying to like not get any spoilers and just watch it. But also I have kind of been spoiled for things when I was like looking at these books and stuff. Most of the time I don't know what the spoilers mean though, so. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope it was fun for you. I had a great time, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye!